If you've ever had an employee, you really want that person to work for you and not against you. What about your subconscious mind? How do you get your subconscious mind to work for you? When we think, we often think in pictures. If I ask you to think about your house, do you get a picture? Your car. Oh yeah, picture. Your wife, your husband, your kids, pictures, all of them. Your mind. Oh, wait a minute. Did you get a picture when I said mind? Some people think of the brain, or they get a picture of the brain. Your brain isn't your mind. When I'm talking about your mind, I'm talking about the you inside of there. You know, the one that's doing all the thinking and observing. Your soul, your spirit, the agent in the machine. Your brain isn't your mind. It's part of your body. So, I've created a little picture of your mind. And this is it. Isn't that beautiful? Now, how is this your mind? I got this originally from my friend Leslie Householder. She got it from a guy named Bob Proctor. I don't know where he got it, but this has been shared in a lot of different contexts as a symbol for the mind. If we look at the different components of the mind, we've got the conscious mind up here on top. We've got the subconscious down here below. And this is the body, which includes your brain. So all three of these elements we'll talk about in terms of your mind. Now, the conscious means aware. When you're unconscious, you're not aware of anything that's going on. So consciousness is awareness, being tuned in or aware of what's going on. Subconscious. Sub means below, like subway, submarine, you get it. Subconscious, below awareness. That's why it's drawn below the conscious mind. You're not aware of what's going on down there. It's very important and it's powerful and it's the topic of our whole conversation today. But you're not aware of it for the most part. In fact, you know what? Some people come into my office and they're like, Dr. Paul, you know what's going on in my subconscious? And I'm like, you don't know what's going on in your subconscious. By definition, you're not aware of it. You can become aware of it, but then it's a conscious thing rather than subconscious. Now, your body is an important part of this equation because it's your body that interfaces with the world and creates your results. When we talk about getting the subconscious mind to work for us instead of against us, I think it's important to see how this process creates results for us in our life. The conscious works in terms of thoughts and pictures and images. Okay, like when I was saying earlier, you think about your house and you get a picture. That's a conscious process. The subconscious works with images, but it's not pictures necessarily. The images I'm talking about in the subconscious are more like self-image, which isn't really a picture. It's more of a feeling or a sense. This is more of a subconscious kind of a process. The subconscious, rather than thoughts, is focused on beliefs. I'm talking the kind that you're not even aware of always. Like speaking English. Did you notice that we're doing that today? Probably not. You didn't notice. It's obvious, but it's a belief. It's just like a template or an operating system. Okay? That's more of a subconscious kind of a process. So, one way to think about how these interact is to think about it kind of like the captain and the crew and the ship. Who's driving the ship? Maybe you said the captain. Now, you would be technically correct. The captain's in charge. The captain's driving the ship, right? the captain actually gives the orders. Who drives the ship? The crew. Okay? Now, the crew may or may not do what the captain tells them to do. What this means is if you have a conscious thought that you want to do a certain thing, but there's a conflicting belief in your subconscious, then your subconscious is going to commit mutiny, throw the captain overboard, and they're going to do whatever they want. The ship has to do what the crew instructs it to do. So here's an example of how this might work. Let's say that you have a subconscious image in your mind. I'm just a failure. Okay? I hope that's not the one that you have, but that's a good example because it'll show us some things. And let's represent that with this X here. Okay? Subconscious belief, I am such a failure. All right. If the subconscious belief is that, what kind of behaviors do you think we're going to see in the body? We're going to see X behaviors in the body, right? Makes sense. We're going to see I'm such a failure behaviors coming from our body. Well, what kind of results do you think that's going to create in our world? Oh yeah, big surprise. I'm such a failure results. Because what other kind of results can you get from that kind of behavior, right? What if the image is I'm fat, I'm lazy, I'm ugly? Well, how is your body going to show up? Fat, ugly, and lazy? You're going to get fat, ugly, and lazy results. Just notice that it's happening. Now, at this point, we get into a little feedback loop here where we become consciously aware of our results through our senses. That's what these little antennae are for up there on top. We get to see and smell and touch our results. And if those are X results that we hate, and that comes into our conscious mind, oh, look at all of this X in my life. Then we conclude at a conscious level that we are X, we feel terrible about it, the emotional energy drives it to our subconscious, and we're off to the races. So you can see how the subconscious can work against us by holding a belief that doesn't serve us well. How are we going to change that? How can we get our subconscious mind to work for us instead of against us? Well, obviously we need to install a new belief here at the subconscious level. Now, typically what happens is we go to the seminar or we watch the YouTube video or we see Dr. Paul spouting off about how you're not X, you're Y. You are Y. You can do this, right? And it's conscious. This Y comes in on a conscious level. Meanwhile, our subconscious is thinking, yeah, whatever. You wish. You wish you were Y. You're such a pretender. You're such a fake. You're such a phony. And that tends to be what carries the day because whatever is already installed in your subconscious is going to drive your behaviors. This is the problem that we have. We need to get Y installed and kick X out of the subconscious. How are we going to do that? The most traditional, common way to do that is through a process that we call affirmations. And I've had my clients do this for my whole career. The problem is they don't work very well. I mean, they do work, they can work, but here's the problem with affirmations. When we take a Y affirmation and we just try to shove it into our subconscious, we get a lot of resistance. We get a fight because X is already there. And X is like a bad tenant. It doesn't want to leave. And so it sets up camp and it's like, no, I was here first and you're such a phony. If we want to get Y down to the subconscious, let's try a little different strategy. And we're going to come in through the back door a little bit so we don't have such resistance and such a fight from our subconscious. It's a process that's called consideration. My good friend Brett Williams was here on the channel a while back. Maybe you saw the video where we talked about this. Affirmations cause the conflict with the subconscious. Considerations slip it in the back door and give us a better chance of installing that new belief in the subconscious so that our subconscious mind is now working for us instead of against us. So, here's a little process that you can do to get those considerations. Step number 1, simply ask, what if? Now, the what if is tied to why, the new belief, okay? Not X, the old belief. Why, the new belief. So what is your new belief? If it's, I'm such a failure that you're trying to eject from the subconscious, then why might be, I am a successful, happy, confident person. All right, that's why. I am a successful, happy, confident person. When you say that, how do you feel? Well, you feel a little resistance, right? Because you're like, well, I'm not really a successful, happy, confident person. I'm actually, and then you go back to X. So we're not going to do that. We're going to say, what if I were a successful, happy, confident person? What if I were? I'm not saying I am. I don't want to fight with my subconscious. I'm simply saying, what if I were? Okay, that's step 1. You can actually divide this into 4 days, 4 separate days. So on day 1, you're just asking the what if. That's all. We're not going to force the issue. Now on day 2, here's the next step. If I were, get the wording. If I were a successful, happy, confident person, what would I see, hear, smell? Okay, we're going to the physical senses because those are very conscious. Remember on the model, we're starting from the top down. We're going to go from the conscious, we're going to drive it down into the subconscious. So these senses are conscious senses. If I were, why, a happy, confident, successful person, what would I see? What would I hear? What would I smell? Go to the senses. Just hang out there for a little bit. Do you see how we're starting to work it in? Now on day 3, step 3, if I were, again, I'm not saying I am. I don't want to pick a fight with my subconscious. But if I were a successful, happy, confident person, how would I feel? Now, we're really talking business because feelings and emotions are what drive that subconscious and cement a new idea into that subconscious. Now we're really getting to the strategy of this approach to get our subconscious mind to work for us. As you consider how it would feel, notice that it's going to feel awesome. If you really were, why? You would feel so good, wouldn't you? Imagine that. Feel it. Anticipate it. See if you can connect with that feeling. And that leaves us to the last step. Number 4 is this. If I were a successful, happy, confident person, how would I show up today? Now we're getting to the behavior part, where the subconscious mind starts to drive the body, where the crew drives the ship. How would I show up today? What would I do differently? How would I love that term, show up in my relationships at work, at home, wherever it is that I am? This is how we can get our subconscious mind to start working for us, as it accepts that new belief and it ejects the old one that was causing us the trouble. For us or against us, that subconscious mind is working all the time. We've got a lot of other supportive videos here in the Positive Personal Development playlist. Check those out and please share with someone you love.
I saw her standing in the street alone. Her head was down, face locked onto the phone.